Hello everybody and welcome to What's the Quack. I'm your host, Ducky, and today I'm joining you from a new residence. Yes, I finally got a new place to rent after all this while, about 4 months of searching, because it was next to impossible to find some place in the current market to rent that is both reasonably priced and takes animals, which you wouldn't think is a tall order nowadays, but the fucking Irish housing market is in the absolute shitter. I'm sure I've complained about this before, but there was places I seen and they're just shitty little ordinary fucking 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom houses, nothing special about them at all, and they're going for like 1,500 quid in Tipperary. It's not like it's in the middle of a fucking city. And I just can't help but think, looking back on it now, if I was still working in retail, I probably couldn't afford to be able to rent a fucking house nowadays. That's how bad it is. Anyway, I'm just kicking things off at a rent straight away. But anyway, no, I got a house. It's out the country, so I'm renting out the country. I'm a country boy now again, rather than being an old townie. One of the main things I like about this place is it's actually a lovely little place. Surprising enough, kind of like a farmhouse, but you know the farm around it has been rented by somebody else. But it's the farmhouse itself. It's lovely. On the outside, it looks a bit small. You get inside, it's newly renovated, spotless on the inside. We're amazed with it. But one of the things I was really looking forward with it for was you're in the country, so it's ideal for Max, my dog, because you know, back when I was living in my previous address, it was in the middle of a housing estate, so you know, houses everywhere. But what kept happening was driving me mad. I'd always get fucking riddled with anxiety anytime I had to walk the dog, because half the cunts in that estate didn't understand what a fucking leash was. So the dogs would be just out fucking roaming about and just, you know, wrecking heads and fucking getting into trouble that they shouldn't have been. But the biggest problem with this was Max is very he's aggressive towards other dogs. I didn't socialise him particularly well when he was younger. That's my fault. I take the blame for that wholeheartedly. But other than Snoop, he didn't really interact with any other dog. But since Snoop has died, I'm walking him a lot more often, which means he encounters a lot more dogs. But while I'm walking him, he's muzzled and he's on a lead. And you know, you think that makes you feel safe enough, but no, it's other fuckers that don't leash the fucking dogs. And they have this weird fucking notion that their dog will ignore instinct and listen to their commands all the time. Like, people need to realise, when you have a dog, you can only trust them so far, realistically. Like, you know, certain dogs, service dogs and all that, the training they have to go through to listen to, like, we'll say cops or the guards or whatever, the training they have to go through to listen to commands when the fucking instincts have kicked in is unbelievable. And even at that, it doesn't work half the time. You often see this shit on like police interceptors or whatever else, where they set a dog on a criminal and the dog doesn't listen when to let go after biting on, like, you know, they have to be almost bet off, like. But then you have that, and then you have these people that just have ordinary pets thinking that they'll be able to call their dog back if it just suddenly makes a charge towards another dog. I don't know why or how they get the notion that that's going to work. It drives me up the wall. There was this guy actually, I may have talked about him before in the podcast. This guy in the estate, he had this little Yorkshire Terrier or some little cupcake of a dog, and he used to always walk it without a lead. And I was walking Max there one day, and sure enough, this little Yorkshire Terrier spotted Max from across the green and just sprinted straight at him, and I was like, oh fuck, here we go now. So I had to pull Max behind me. Now Max has a muzzle on him and he's on a leash, he's on a lead as well, so I'm not worried about Max attacking the other dog. I'm worried about the other dog attacking my dog and, you know, fucking marking up Max, because my dog is defenseless now and your little shit is charging him across the green. And then I don't want to fucking boot the dog or anything then as well, because it's cruel. It's not the dog's fault, it's the fucking owner's fault for leaving it off the lead. But anyway, as this Yorkie was like charging across the green, your man was shouting at it, you know, come back, or whatever the fuck he was shouting. Dog just completely fucking ignored him, just stayed charging towards Max. So I got to the point where I had to, before the dog got right up to us, I had to bend down and pick Max up, all fucking 27 kilos of the dog, pick him up off the ground and fucking roar at the dog, the Yorkie, to get the fuck away, like. And then your man had to come sprinting over. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. No word of a lie, the very next day, I was sitting in my office and I could hear two dogs tearing into each other outside. So I stands up and I looks out the window. And who was it? Only your man's fucking Yorkie again, and some other people who were walking their dog on a lead, going at it in the middle of the street. Again, like literally the fucking day after. Now there was the young ones that were walking their dog on their lead. They were a bit rough, but it made it even more hilarious, because all I could hear was the young ones shouting at your man going, you fucking dopey bastard, I fucking told you put a leash on that little cunt, what's your fucking problem? And your man is fucking foreign, so all I can hear is, sorry, I'm so sorry, you know, the fucking, some vague European accent, I'm not sure what it was. But like, he's got to be the stupidest fucker I've ever met in my entire life. How do you go from like nearly having your dog get into an altercation to the very next day, just doing the exact same thing and expecting different results. It's fucking bonkers. But anyway, sorry, I digress. I was trying to make another point there. But we got this new house, right? There was no gate in the front garden. And the landlord was quite sound, because I asked, would he mind if I fitted the gate? I don't mind paying for it. It was just to keep Max in the garden, so I don't have to keep an eye on him, or he's not going to go jogging down the road or anything. And your man was like, yeah, no worries. So after, it was about a week later when we actually started moving stuff over, we came over and the landlord had literally just fitted a gate to it. He just did it himself off his own back. So that was very nice of him. So we moved in and all was going well. And I was like, finally, I don't have to get fucking anxious about other dogs coming in and around the place, and there's a decently sized yard there for Max to potter around. So, I don't have to, he doesn't need to feel claustrophobic in a fucking estate anymore, in a housing estate, with a small backyard and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's nice. That's grand. Like, but then immediately encountered a problem on day one. But this is even before we brought Max over. We were just moving boxes in and stuff. There was a dog outside the house. Some sort of breed. He looked like a fluffy greyhound, like a taller, fluffy greyhound. I'm not familiar with the breed myself. Maybe it was a mongrel or something like that. But standing outside, a very friendly dog, like real kind of timid and, submissive almost, I suppose would be the word. But like, and sure enough, Connie straight away, petting him through the gate and all that, and that's fine. But she told me about this. I wasn't actually there, but she told me about this. She had a video of it and stuff. She goes, this could be a problem. We have a random dog just out and about the place, wandering around, So I was just like, shit, don't tell me I have to worry about another dog. Because if I'm leaving Max out in the yard, having a piss or whatever, I'm not going to put him on a fucking lead or anything like that. It's our yard. You shouldn't have to be worrying about other dogs being about the place. But I was just like, look, hopefully, if it does come around again, he'll just stay outside the house and he'd know better. Maybe he's timid enough that if he sees Max lunge, he might feck off or think twice about it, Out there this morning, and Max was wandering around, and he wandered down the side of the house. So he was out of view slightly, but I just caught out of the corner of my eye a little white head bobbing along behind the wall at the front of the house. I was like, oh shit, fucking dog. And sure, it popped its head over the wall, spotted Max, and jumped straight up onto the wall and straight into the fucking garden. I was like, oh shit. So I straight away, reach for Max, because I know Max will fucking go for him. Max, that's his problem. He's very dog aggressive, but again, it's my own fault. But I'm like, oh shit, Max is going to tear this fucking dog asunder if I don't fucking intervene. So I lunge straight away, grab Max, but then my fucking panicked movements set Max off, and now he's just like, what the fuck is going on? What's going on? Fuck, I'll kill him. Max didn't even spot the dog at this stage. He just knew something was afoot. So he started getting pure ears up, tail up, looking around, pure fucking. So I picked him up off the ground. He spotted the dog as I was going into the house, and then the dog started running towards the front door. I'm like, oh fuck. Now the dog, the fluffy white dog, wasn't being aggressive. It was clearly being friendly. The tail was down, wagging away, and it was doing this kind of sideways strut, looking to look for a chase or whatever. You know how dogs behave. But now I'm just like, fuck's sake. Now that somebody doesn't put their fucking dog on a lead or keep them locked in or whatever else, now I have to deal with more fucking dog related shit of a dog jumping into my garden. Now I have to worry about the well-being of somebody else's fucking dog now. And then Max is going to be fucking stressing and pacing around the garden the whole time looking for that fucking dog. I'm not going to be able to relax when I'm leaving the dog out for a piss. It's always fucking something, isn't it? Always fucking something. Drive me up the fucking wall. Sorry, no, this is like a fucking 10-minute long rant about it, but I can't stand when people don't keep their dogs in, because this is one fault with my dog. He's dog aggressive, but I'm doing everything in my power to protect other dogs. When I'm walking him, he's muzzled, he's on a lead. Even since my other dog Snoop died, we've been able to walk Max a hell of a lot more. We couldn't do it as much in the past because Snoop was arthritis, and I didn't feel it was fair to kind of separate him because they get separation anxiety from each other. But since Snoop died, we've been walking Max a lot more. He's getting a lot better on the lead around other dogs. We take him to dog parks and stuff like that. He's getting better at ignoring dogs when they're walking past him. Like every now and again, you might have a dog that will like bark at him, or people who fucking have really vocal dogs. When they're walking past, they might start yipping or barking or whatever else, and Max will look at them, puff the chest out, typical fucking dogs. You want to go, boy? Do you want to go? I'll fucking fight you, man. I'm not afraid of you. That kind of that kind of stance. But he's gotten better in time. He's gotten better with ignoring them. He's baby steps. He's getting there. But when he's in his own fucking garden, he's territory in his eyes. There's not much I can fucking do, and I'm not going to be. I don't want to fucking leash the dog and muzzle the dog every time I leave him out for a lash. It's irritating. People need to start fucking being properly responsible for their dogs. And I know what, fucking the owner is probably thinking, oh, it's the country, you're going to have to get used to, dogs running about in the country and all that. I'm just, was like, when it's coming into my yard, when my dog is aggressive, I don't want to have to deal with the hassle of my dog biting your dog or vice versa, or dogs getting hurt. That's the worst thing. If anything, I just want to fucking protect the other dogs so everybody can be happy. I want a happy dog and I want the neighbour's dog to be happy. So yeah, I don't really know what to do. I don't even know where the fucking dog belongs to, because it's just up and down the road. So without following it like fucking Sherlock Holmes, there's no way of telling straight away where the fucking dog should be living, you know? So yeah, that's the predicament I'm in now. My only thing I can think about doing, and it's risky, is if I spot the dog when Max is out for a piss, is to kind of be close, but just see if Max's aggression will keep the dog out of the yard, if that makes sense. Like, you know, will the other dog recognise that Max is being aggressive and think better of coming into the yard, you know, and hope that that's the case. Because if that's the case, well, first of all, it's some sort of greyhound mix. It's going to be able to run a hell of a lot fucking faster than Max, I guarantee it. Especially because Max's average fucking speed is about half an inch per hour, because he spends most of his day sleeping. But that's my only thing. Other than that, or finding out who owns it. But then that's an awkward conversation, you know, because we've just moved in. You don't want to be going to people's houses and kind of going, yeah, do you know the way you've been enjoying that peaceful life with your dog running wild there for the last 7 or 8 years? Yeah, I'm here to put a stop to that because I've just moved in. You don't want to be that fucker, you know, but you kind of have to be to protect dogs. But yeah, that's my predicament. But I apologise for the audio. I'm in a room. I haven't got it sound treated or anything like that. My desk is literally just like a small island in a sea of fucking boxes right now. I've just got boxes all around me, and I can't unpack half of them because I'm waiting on some fucking IKEA shit to be delivered so I can actually build my office up properly. So yeah, just waiting on that. So I've just kind of makeshift set up here, thrown in the corner. The walls haven't been sound treated fucking with acoustic foam or nothing, so it's all a bit up in the air. I ordered SpaceX internet because, again, the house is out in the fucking nosebleeds. So I needed fast internet, and the fastest thing I could be offered by normal service providers is just mobile, 4G mobile broadband, some SIM card bollocks anyway, which wouldn't be good enough for me because there's typically limits, and, you know, I need a decent upload speed as well as download for streaming and the like as well. So I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'll just buy the SpaceX internet because that's fast. The latency is a bit in need of improvement, but that can only get better. So I invested in Starlink internet, and I was fucking amazed. I ordered it on a Monday. I had it by Thursday, and it came from fucking US. That's a fucking delivery. I know that's because some people in the States that are waiting on it. I think it's going to be like the end of 2022 or something before they get it. But for some reason, if you order it in Ireland, from what I've read and from what I've asked around and stuff like that, if you order it from Ireland and you're in a free cell, I don't know what that means, but apparently it's a bit of a map that's desirable for SpaceX to have an antenna there or whatever else. I don't know. But if you have that, yeah, you'll have it pretty quick. So I got that. And that arrived on the other day, and I was like, great. I'll stick, there's a little kind of porch area on the front of this house that's flat, and it comes on a tripod. So I was like, fuck it, yeah, I'll throw it up there. That's ideal. But the very first night we moved out here, it's like a fucking storm going on outside, and I was like, Jesus, if I put that fucking dish outside and it's not nailed down or mounted down to something, that's going to get fucking dragged across the yard. It's like a 500 quid piece of equipment. Not risking that, because that's a bill I don't want to fucking pay it twice, you know. So I've had to go back onto the fucking SpaceX website and get a pipe adapter because the house didn't have any satellites on it, so there's nothing to mount the fucking thing to. So I have to do that and get it fitted. I hate moving house. It's so much fucking hassle. Everything needs to be done, and the amount of shit you come across as well when you're moving house and you're packing shit up. I came across the other day was a t-shirt. My work t-shirt from when I worked in Euro 50 stores. And that was depressing, finding that at the end of my wardrobe crumpled up. I still didn't get rid of it because I'm always like, that's just kind of funny to hang on to. Remind myself of how shit my life used to be, just to kind of appreciate how good it is now in comparison. So yeah, I'm kind of getting a bit sentimental about that. But yeah, I'm probably not going to have a what's your problem segment on this one today, because this is an impromptu podcast I'm doing here now. So I've nothing kind of ready around like that. I'll see if I can squeeze an old quack me up corner joke in towards the end, but we'll see when we get there. I actually recorded a podcast the other day with PJ, and I haven't listened to it back yet, but I think it's shite because I was in the middle of moving, but I was still at my old place, and I had to record it in the kitchen because like all my equipment had been moved out of my office and stuff like that. And I haven't listened to it back, but I'm almost certain from looking at the waveform while I was recording it that it sounded horrible, because, you know, in a kitchen, really echoey and fucking horrible. Wouldn't be nice if you were listening to it with headphones. Wouldn't be nice on the ears, you know, that kind of way. And that's how a lot of people do listen to podcasts. So I might have to just kind of wrangle them around to get them up to the house when I get the office set up and we do a proper fucking podcast. So that's my life up until now. That's what you've missed out on since my last podcast. 10 to 12 minutes of me giving out about fucking neighbours' dogs that are not fucking gated in or tied up or anything like that. And my lack of an office. One thing I wanted to speak about on this was I recently published a video the other day. Thankfully, I managed to get at least one video done over my quote-unquote time off over January there that I was able to post the other day. So, just make sure my fucking wages don't suddenly die on the channel. Get something out until I can get everything set back up. But I published that. It was about getting my vaccine. And wow, there's a lot of strong opinions in the comments on that one. Not that I didn't expect it, mind you. I knew full well going into it, talking about vaccines and I have a lot of people, I say a lot of people, it's 1% of the comments, if even, were bitching about, some conspiracy shit about vaccines. You know how people fucking shite on the internet. Poor fuckers have nothing better to be doing but sitting there and making up stories and then believing their own bullshit. But I got a few comments, and what I've decided to do in this podcast, because I feel like I addressed it pretty up front in the fucking video. You have people still trying to argue in the comments. I'm just like, listen, my counter argument is already in the video. Just refer back to that. Every time you think you have a good point, just go back to that little bit in the video where I call you a Karen and tell you to shut the fuck up, essentially. Refer back to that every time you have something smart to say in the comments. But I've got a wide variety of comments on people who are anti-vax. And rather than doing a proper video on it, I think I'll just address them here in the podcast. Now, there's a lot of people that are anti-vax are going to hear me say that sentence now, and they're just getting ready to fucking bar keyboard, my God, fucking bastard, yeah. But just listen, just hear me out. Not that you'd want to listen to reason anyway. Some of you might. I might break through to somebody, but the vast majority probably not. People are. I'm guilty of it myself when I have my mind made up about something. I'm just like, nah, fuck it, you're all wrong. But I had a few comments. I've kind of made a little list about what people's biggest grievances is with me being pro-vax, if that's such a thing. I'd say it's pro-common sense, but listen, I'm trying to extend a bit of an olive branch here, and I'll discuss some of these. So one of the first ones I got, and I refuted it immediately in the comments. Someone says, what I mentioned in the video about, where the vast majority of the scientific and the medical community say get vaccinated. So somebody in the comments said that truckloads was the word they used. Truckloads of doctors are anti-vax and advise against getting the vaccine. So I did a quick Google, as you do, a quick bit of research, proper research. I looked for decent sources, not Facebook or a group chat, but I went to actual looking for proper surveys. And what I came across of almost like the top of the list of Google, and it was an AMA survey. There was the American Medical Association survey of a load of doctors, and 96% of doctors are vaccinated and are pro-vaccine, and are pro-vaccine. So that would leave 4%. 4% of doctors are quote-unquote anti-vax. Now, I would say there's probably a percentage of them that are not necessarily anti-vax, they're just anti-vax under certain conditions. I'm sure there's caveat. If they're medically fucking trained, there's got to be a good reason if they're against them now. And then I'd say a stronger percentage of those that are not vaccinated, I'd question their credentials. Because you often hear that, doctor is against vaccines. And it's usually because, one, they were just misquoted. They were saying something else. They were just like, you shouldn't get vaccinated if you have trouble with this, or if you have this condition. I worry then some fucking news outlet will twist it, or some headline or article will twist it to say, this doctor is anti-vax. And then the other half of it is just somebody who's a fucking nutritionalist is anti-vax. Somewhere down the line said this person was a doctor, and then it just got confused and whatever else. But the original fucking thing, it's not truckloads of doctors or medical professions that are anti-vax. It's not truckloads. It's a small percentage. Small. 4%. And I wouldn't even give it 4%. I'd say there's probably even half of those. If half of the remaining 4% were actually full-on anti-vax, that's 2%. And people are just, they get their head stuck in this fucking bubble of weirdness. Because it's like, if you had a problem in your house, if you had a plumbing issue, pipe burst in your house and it's leaking all over the fucking walls or whatever else, and you called 100 plumbers and 96% of those plumbers said, yeah, you're better off just changing that pipe altogether there, yeah, the pipe is weak and blah, blah, blah. And 4% of them said, no, stick a bit of blue tack on it, it'll be fine. Why would you listen to the 4% when the vast majority of these trained professionals are telling you the exact same thing? It's like people have this underdog mentality that the minority is always right, that kind of way. They're always trying to root for the team that's losing, which is great and all in sport, but not when it comes to fucking medical choices, That's not the correct fucking thing to be doing. Another one I got in the comments was government control. People are under the illusion that the government is like rubbing their nipples and winking at you every time you get vaccinated, because they're like, ooh, I can control you. Oh yeah. And they're like wanking away in their fucking Oval Office there at the thought of you getting an injection because it's like power trip or something. I don't really know what they mean by government control, to be honest. Somebody even said government fucking tyranny in the comments, and I'm like, there's some people in North Korea that would like to have a fucking word with you about your use of government fucking tyranny. You know, government fucking tyranny, get vaccinated. They're trying to fucking look out for you. Or not even you. They're trying to look out for people who can't look out for themselves. But we'll get to that. Don't you worry. But government control, I don't understand. Like, government can probably track your data on your phone. That's kind of a given, to be honest. If they're tracking phone calls a few years ago, yeah, I'm going to be sure they can track all your fucking data online. If you have a driver's license, a PPS, or what's the American equivalent of a social security number, if you have any of that, they already know your fucking, your name, your date of birth, your fucking address. They already know this. If you have a driver's license, they know even more. They know what you look like. At what part does you getting an injection, when does that become government control? I don't understand. Is there like a mind control thing in the syringe? Has technology gotten that far that we can do that? Like the last time they were experimenting with mind control, they were giving LSD to fucking people in what, the 60s, was it? That was their best shot at it. There's no nanotech inside a syringe that's going to fucking control your mind or whatever else. It's just been locked indoors. The government wants people locked indoors. The government who rely on people going outside and spending money in shops on tax and VAT and everything else to stay afloat. They want for some reason, they want people to stay at home, so they have to dip into their reserve money and fuck up their own economy. Is that what they want? It doesn't sound legit to me, like, you know. Another one popular in the comments, masks don't work, which baffles me. That's like the most basic thing. A child understands that a mask works. When somebody farts around you and you don't want to smell it, you put your hand in front of your face. And fucking COVID is an airborne disease. Of course a mask will work. It doesn't mean it's foolproof, but it helps. I simply don't understand where people... Like, how can you learn the English language but not understand a concept like that? I just don't get it. I really don't. Another one. The people saying that it has a 99% survival rate. So, we shouldn't worry about it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Which is statistically probably accurate enough, right? But when you say that, you're ignoring, or at least you're being very cold about the fact that the 1% of people who've died from COVID equates to it's about 5.7 million people dead right now as we speak. Is that what it is? Because it's different when you say, instead of saying 99% survival rate, you actually say, oh, well, like, you'll only be part of the 5.7 million people dead if you die of COVID. That's a very different fucking way of wording it. It just seems cold. But even at that, even if it's a 1% chance you'll die, most people listening to this, I presume, would have a little voice in the back of their head when they're on a plane saying, oh, this fucking plane goes down, we're going to die. I get that. I think any sane person does. But when you're on a plane, you have a 1 in 9,800 chance of dying in a plane crash. 1 in 9,000, we'll say 1 in 10,000, thereabouts. 1 in 10,000 chance of dying in a plane crash. And you worry about that. 1 in 100 is way worse. Way fucking worse. That's much more likely. And you're trying to say don't worry about that. So that's another thing I don't like. 99% survival rate. It's tone deaf, and a 1% chance of dying is a high percent chance of fucking dying in any walk of life, realistically. Come on, like. Somebody else had a thing to say in the comments. They said, you can still get it when you're vaccinated, so what's the point? If you're vaccinated, you can still catch COVID and you can still spread COVID, so what's the point in getting vaccinated? And I can tell you from the little research, I'm not claiming to be an authority in all this. I'm just giving you my reasoning and, refuting some of the comments I've seen with what I understand to be common knowledge at this point. But when you get vaccinated, yeah, you can still get it. Yes, you can still spread it. But you get over it faster and you're contagious for a shorter time. And to go back to the point I was making earlier, not everybody can get vaccinated. Some people have allergies to the vaccines. I'm sure there's people who have certain conditions that don't allow them to get vaccinated. Some people don't have access to vaccines in some parts of the world. So the reason you should get vaccinated, even though you can get it and still spread it, is because you're shortening the time in which you're contagious and which you'd have to suffer, and you're lessening your symptoms. So you even got a fucking selfish reason thrown in with the other two selfless reasons. So that's why you get vaccines. So you're less likely to spread it. You're less likely to have it. And, if you do get it, it might not fucking kill you. So that's why you get vaccinated. Now, it's not ideal. In an ideal world, we'd certainly want a vaccine to just work full stop. You can't get it. You can't spread it. Job done. But unfortunately, that's not where we're at with the vaccines now. And I don't know if we ever will, given the nature of a virus. But that's why. Which kind of moves me on to the next one. Somebody was saying, the typical my body, my choice, which I think is a thing that came from abortions. I think that was like one of the biggest kind of things, whether or not to legalise abortions. I think that's where it came out of, if memory serves me right. My body, my choice. Which, when it comes to abortions, absolutely. You're a woman, you want an abortion, it's your fucking body, you do what you will with it. That doesn't affect anybody other than the mother and the fetus or the baby, whatever you want to look. That doesn't affect anybody outside that circle. But choosing not to get vaccinated does, or at least has the potential to hurt people around you, because you can carry the virus more efficiently, you can spread it a lot better. Putting people who are at risk, people who haven't been able to get the vaccines for whatever reason, putting them at risk unnecessarily because, I don't know. Well, the one thing that makes me laugh so much is that they do my body, my choice. Right? And then they choose not to get the vaccine. And then Starbucks won't let him inside the building. And then they kick up. Oh, you can't do this to me. It was my choice. I shouldn't have to just, oppression, blah, blah, blah. And they're spouting, shouting and roaring because they made a choice and the choice they had consequences. It's your body, your choice. But if you choose not to get vaccinated, then it's the company's company and the company's choice not to fucking house you. Yeah, no, you shouldn't be allowed on airplanes if you're the potential of spreading a fucking virus in the middle of a pandemic. No, it's bonkers. God forbid you make a choice and it has consequences. People like that are just like, I want to have my cake and eat it. Why won't you let me have my cake and eat it? This isn't fair. It's like, it's very fucking fair. You want to fucking join the rest of us and moving on and getting over this shit, then join the rest of us and moving on and getting over this shit. And stop throwing a fucking tantrum. Sorry, I'm getting more angry. I'm trying to be nice about this, but it's just kind of infuriating trying to get my head around all this nonsense, It really is. These people that just think fucking the government and scientists and medical professions are like fucking Disney villains and they're the protagonist in this movie and they're going to be the ones to fight against them and blah, blah, blah. It's all a bit fucking childish. Do you ever feel like that when you come across these fucking anti-vaxxers and fucking conspiracy theorist people and you're just like, you're like a fucking teenager, when they get to that like rebellious stage of their teenagehood where they start realising they can shout back at their parents. They're like, no, I can do what I want, that rebellious phase before they actually grow up and fucking mature into people. It's like that. It's like listening to a lot of that. As a wide spectrum. You got single mothers on fucking Facebook, the Karen group as they're more colloquially known around the world. And then you have like fucking the other end of the spectrum is like these redneck fucking gun toting, oh, you can fucking try make me do it. I'll fucking shoot you to the face with my big gun. But for all my shiting, because I know a lot of this is going to fall on deaf ears for people that are anti-vax, here's the one point I'm going to finish on. This point here I'm going to finish on. And this will tell you why I'm pro-vax, right? The reason I'm pro-vax, or at least so passionately, I suppose, be the word pro-vax, or like comfortable about being pro-vax, is because in what I'd call a very unlikely event that I'm wrong, that it turns out that the vaccines are government tyranny and are going to control my mind and turn my balls the wrong way around so they're on top instead of the bottom and turn my willy from an outie to an innie. But in the unlikely event that all that turns out to be true somewhere down the line, I'm okay with that. And the reason I'm okay with that is because at least I was trying to do the right thing and not being a selfish fucking prick about it. I was actually trying to look out for other people. I can be okay. I can live with myself because I was actually doing what I felt was the right fucking thing. Now, if anti-vaxxers turn out to be wrong, in the very likely event they turn out to be wrong, they look like selfish arseholes. And that's how it is. If they found out, guaranteed, not that it'll fucking affect them, they'd still find some other reason to doubt it, but if it came out, cold hard facts, it was all true, the virus is real, it is in fact killing people, it does spread, the vaccine does slow it down or at least help to stop it, they're going to be the person that has to sit there and look at themselves in the mirror and go, well, I chose not to and put other people at risk because I'm a big hard man, or I'm not going to fall for this, that and the other, or I'm not going to have the wool pulled over me. It's like, no. All it boils down to it's just selfish. That's the way I look at it. It's just selfish not getting the fucking vaccine. You're going outside and you're fucking snotting all over everything, drooling over the floor because you can't close your fucking mouth. There's one thing the missus, it drives her mad about, like face masks at work. She comes home with stories, but she was telling me, there was this lad and he came in to the vet's where she works at and he had the mask around his chin and she like gestured at him to kind of pull up his mask because like, you have to wear a mask indoors. So he was like, oh yeah, Grant, he pulled up the mask and then he approached the counter and when he started to speak he pulled down the mask to talk to her and she's like, sorry, you pull your mask up. I can hear you through the fucking 2mm thick cloth you have over your mouth. I can hear you perfectly fine. So the idea of pulling down the fucking mask. I seen someone in Tesco's before pull down the mask to cough. For fuck's sake. These are the kind of people that are anti-vax. They have no idea what the fuck is going on around them at all. They have no concept. It's just a load of pub talkers and shy talkers. You'd be sick to your fucking hole of it. I just realised the last podcast I did, I was talking about how much I'm sick of talking about COVID. Oh no. Oh, I did the old man laugh cough thing. Oh God, I'm pushing on. Oh God. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little rant about my fucking about my COVID. That were just some of the comments I came across that I just wanted to address, and I'm not fucked replying to them one by one. I'd rather do it in a medium where everybody can see my answers to them, so somebody can just go, yeah, he talked about that, and just point him this way, because I'm sick of hearing about it. I will say though, I had so much fun with the hate the video got, because like within the first 2 hours of the video was up, it had more dislikes than any video I had put up in the last like 6 months. I was just giggling like a child. You know, all these people are getting so angry in the comments, and I could just imagine their angry little faces just frantically typing, fuck you, Ducky, fuck you little cuncha, oh, you're wrong. I don't know why, but just the image of little angry faces there typing frantically just warms my cold dead heart, you know. I just love annoying people, I really do. And I know this one's going to get a bit of hate in the comments as well on YouTube, and please do lavish me, lads. I love it, it's great. Did you all hear about that bit of news? Is it Jimmy Carr, the comedian, is in a bit of hot water over a joke about the Holocaust that he did. And it was Connie. She came in from work yesterday and told me about this, because she likes to keep up with all this kind of stuff. I've long since stopped caring and ignoring it, because like the internet's not real. People can bitch and moan about shit on the internet all day long. It doesn't change reality for anybody. Cancel this person. People getting cancelled, it's all well and good for like a day or two, and then everybody gets bored of it and moves on to the next cancellation that happens in 3 days' time, and the original one's forgotten about. Like, I think a big celebrity's gotten cancelled at least once a month for the last 3 years online, but I couldn't tell you 3 of their names, because there's just moving on to a new one. I'm just getting fatigued from it, to the point where none of us commit to memory anymore. But yeah, it was he did a joke about the Holocaust. Well, it was at the expense of gypsies, I believe. I've only read it in an article, which is the worst way to read a joke from a comedian on an article. That's not how they're supposed to be interpreted, not written down on a piece of paper. It's always going to look way worse when it's written down. But the thing that just shocked me was the fact that it was Jimmy Carr, because every single joke that comes out of Jimmy Carr's mouth is a rough joke. He does very dark comedy. He's well known for doing dark comedy. Like, literally, if he's like, Frankie Boyle, Jimmy Carr, those kind of, what you're getting with Jimmy Carr. That's the reason why he's gone for so long without having any controversy, because people know what to expect with Jimmy Carr. Nobody's going into Jimmy Carr and surprised by what comes out of his mouth. And I'm a fan of Jimmy Carr. I love his fucking jokes. They're real simple. There's no kind of like story or anything like that. It's very different to other comics, but there's no story kind of wrapped around. It's just bang, punchline, and they're always so risky as well. When you get one of those laughs where you're just like, oh, fuck, I'm going to hell. It's just one of them. Really good comedian, and I very much enjoy his stuff. So, but I was just shocked that he, of all people, was getting cancelled. You know what it was like? What it would be like? It'd be like Kim Jong-un getting cancelled. You're just like, why are you cancelling him now? He's always been like this. Why is this suddenly a problem now? Like, this is actually probably a bad analogy, to be honest. But it's the first thing we're going to about. It's a podcast, not a scripted video, lads. You're going to have to roll with my mistakes as well. But you know what I mean? Like, nobody's shocked by his jokes. Only for like, somebody obviously just clicked into his Netflix special, not knowing anything about Jimmy Carr for some reason. Despite the fact he's on almost everything on UK television. Somehow they're completely unaware of this comedian and his style. And we're just shocked and appalled. I'm just like, wow. And my missus is like, can you believe that? And she's aware of Jimmy Carr as well, so that's why she found it so absurd. But she's like, can you believe that? And I was just like, look, fucking, I'm not surprised. He's an easy target. But hopefully he doesn't fall into the same trap as every other kind of comedian, with the exception of a few do, where they apologise. I think that's the worst fucking thing you can do. Don't feed the fucking fire. Tell him to fuck off. Somebody comes at me, cancelling me, unless it's something stupid I actually did, or maybe something I changed my mind about in time, which could be construed as a bit of a cop-out, but it does happen. I've expressed some views in my older videos that I don't necessarily agree with now, but everybody understands that people kind of mature and change over time, and people's opinions can change on things, so I'm not worried about that. But if it's about a joke, they'll be told 2 words and it's got 3 F's in them. Right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It's time for Quack Me Up Corner.
Quack, 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 quack me up. Quack, 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 quack me up. Get your ducks in order. It's time for Quack Me Up Corner.
A penguin takes his car into the shop, and the mechanic says, I'll look at it, but it'll take about an hour for me to check it. So while he waits, the penguin goes to an ice cream shop and orders a big sundae to pass the time. But the penguin isn't the cleanest eater in the world and ends up covered top to toe in melted ice cream. When he returns back to the shop, the mechanic takes a look over at the car, looks back at him and says, looks like you blew a seal. No, says the penguin, it's just ice cream. And I'll give you one more. A man and a woman started to have sex in the middle of a dark forest. After about 15 minutes, the man finally gets up and says, damn, I wish I had a flashlight. The woman says, me too, because you've been eating grass for the last 10 minutes. Actually, I'll give you one more because this one's actually pretty decent. What's the difference between a genealogist and a gynecologist? A genealogist looks up your family tree, while a gynecologist looks up your family bush. So, I think that's me. I've run out of things to talk about, believe it or not. I can finally shut the fuck up. So, I'm going to leave this one here. Just before I go, I'll just let you know that if you're listening to this on my second YouTube channel, you can also listen to this on Spotify. It's also on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever podcasts are, it's probably there. And vice versa, if you're listening on Spotify or anything else of that description, you can also catch this on my second channel on YouTube called Ducky's Room. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I will catch you lads and ladies in the next one.